Almost everyone knows what Medusa looked like. Snakes twisted across her head. Her eyes could turn a living person into stone. Heroes feared her. Artists placed her face on shields, temples, and tombs. But there is a problem with the story everyone remembers. There was never just one version of Medusa. In one tradition, she was born a monster. In another, she became one after suffering a terrible injustice. So was Medusa an evil creature? Was she an innocent victim? Or did centuries of storytelling transform her into both? The oldest surviving accounts begin with three sisters. Their names were Athena, Euryale, and Medusa. Together, they were known as the Gorgons. They lived far from the familiar Greek world. Ancient poets placed them near the edge of night. It was a distant land beyond ordinary human reach. Athena and Euryale could never die. Medusa was different. She alone was mortal. That single weakness would decide her fate. Early Greek art did not show Medusa as beautiful. Her face was broad and terrifying. Her mouth displayed tusks. Her tongue sometimes hung between her teeth. Some images gave her a beard or wild animal features. She was not a woman waiting to be rescued. She was a supernatural guardian of forbidden boundaries. Her face was called the Gorgonian. Greeks used it as a protective symbol. It appeared on armor, buildings, coins, and household objects. The image was frightening for a reason. It was meant to frighten evil away. Medusa was dangerous, but her danger could also protect. This contradiction existed from the beginning. The poet Hesiod gives one of the earliest written accounts. He describes Medusa as the mortal sister of two immortals. He also connects her with Poseidon, god of the sea. They came together in a meadow filled with spring flowers. Hesiod does not describe Athena transforming Medusa. He does not say that Medusa began as a human priestess. In this early version, she already belonged to the Gorgons. The familiar transformation story appeared much later. Before that story was written, another life was beginning. A princess named Danae lived in the city of Argos. Her father, King Perseus, received a frightening prophecy. He would one day die because of Danae's son. The king tried to prevent that future. He locked Danae away from the world. But Zeus reached her in the form of golden rain. Danae gave birth to a boy named Perseus. Perseus feared killing the child directly. The gods might punish him for spilling family blood. So he placed Danae and Perseus inside a wooden chest. Then he cast them into the sea. The chest did not become their coffin. It drifted to the island of Seriphos. A fisherman named Dictys found them and offered shelter. Perseus grew into a strong young man. His strength soon attracted dangerous attention. The island was ruled by King Polydectes. Polydectes wanted Danae. Perseus stood between the king and his desire. So Polydectes created a plan to remove him. The king announced that he would marry another woman. He asked the men of the island to provide gifts. Perseus had no horse and little wealth. Embarrassed, he made a reckless promise. He would bring Polydectes the head of Medusa. The king accepted immediately. It was the perfect mission. If Perseus succeeded, Polydectes would receive a great weapon. If Perseus failed, he would never return. No ordinary warrior could approach the Gorgons safely. Looking directly at Medusa meant becoming stone. Her two sisters could not be killed. Even finding their home was nearly impossible. Perseus survived because the gods helped him. Athena became his guide and protector. Hermes also assisted the young hero. Different ancient sources describe the gifts differently. The most famous tradition gives Perseus several divine tools. He received a curved blade strong enough to kill Medusa. He received winged sandals that carried him through the air. He received a special bag for the severed head. He also received the helmet of Hades. The helmet made its wearer invisible. But the most important gift was a polished shield. Its surface could be used like a mirror. Perseus first had to find the Gree. They were three ancient sisters of the Gorgons. The sisters shared one eye and one tooth. They passed them between each other when needed. Perseus waited for the eye to change hands. Then he seized it. He refused to return it until they revealed his path. The information led him toward the weapons he required. At last, Perseus reached the home of the Gorgons. The ground around them told a silent story. Stone figures stood where living people had once walked. Some had come to fight. Others may simply have come too close. Perseus found the sisters sleeping. He could not risk looking directly at Medusa. Instead, he watched her reflection in Athena's shield. He moved backward toward the sleeping figure. Every step depended on the image in polished bronze. Then Perseus raised the curved blade. With one strike, he removed Medusa's head. Death did not end the strange power surrounding her. Two beings emerged from the wound. One was Chrysor, whose name means golden sword. The other was Pegasus, the immortal winged horse. They were the children of Medusa and Poseidon. They had remained hidden until the moment of her death. The sound awakened Stheno and Euryale. The immortal sisters rushed after Perseus. They could not see him beneath Hades' helmet. Perseus escaped with Medusa's head inside the special bag. The head remained deadly. Its eyes still carried the power to turn flesh into stone. Perseus used that power several times during his journey. He rescued the princess Andromeda from a sea monster. Later, he faced men who tried to take her from him. He revealed Medusa's head and turned his enemies to stone. When Perseus returned to Seriphos, danger still waited. Polydectes had continued to threaten Danae. Perseus entered the king's hall. Polydectes mocked his claim of success. So Perseus showed him the promised gift. The king and his supporters became stone. Perseus had completed the impossible task. He eventually gave Medusa's head to Athena. Athena placed it upon her shield or protective garment. Medusa became part of the goddess's divine armor. The monster had been killed, yet her face continued to protect gods and mortals. This would already be a complete and unsettling myth. But centuries later, a Roman poet changed everything. His name was Ovid. Ovid wrote the Metamorphoses during the age of Augustus. His version gave Medusa a tragic human past. In his account, Medusa was once a beautiful young woman. Her most admired feature was her hair. Many men wanted her. Then Neptune attacked her inside Minerva's temple. These were the Roman names for Poseidon and Athena. The temple should have been a place of safety. Instead, it became the location of Medusa's suffering. Minerva responded by changing Medusa's beautiful hair. Each strand became a living snake. The goddess also made her appearance deadly to behold. This is the version most modern audiences remember. It is also the source of the story's greatest moral problem. Why was Medusa punished for violence committed against her? Ovid does not provide a comforting answer. That silence has shaped later interpretations. Some readers see Athena as cruel and unjust. Others reinterpret the transformation as a form of protection. According to that modern reading, Medusa could never be harmed again. But that idea is an interpretation, not Ovid's stated explanation. The ancient text still leaves Medusa carrying the consequences. It also leaves Perseus killing her while she sleeps. This changes the emotional center of the entire myth. The hero's victory becomes the victim's final tragedy. Neither version can erase the other now. The early Gorgon and the later transformed woman have merged. Modern Medusa carries both histories in the same face. She is a monster whose image protects. She is a victim whose suffering becomes her identity. She is killed by a hero who needs her power. She is silenced, yet her head continues to command fear. That may explain why Medusa never disappeared from culture. Her story can change whenever society asks new questions. Ancient warriors saw a symbol that frightened enemies. Later artists saw the moment beauty became horror. Modern readers often see anger, survival, and injustice. Each age looks into Medusa's face and finds something different. Perhaps the final question is not whether she was a monster. The myths give us more than one answer. The better question is who had the power to define her. The gods transformed her. A king demanded her death. A hero took her head. Poets rewrote her past. Artists reshaped her face. And thousands of years later, we are still looking at her. We are still deciding whether to fear her. We are still deciding whether to mourn her. Medusa turned people into stone. But her own story never stopped changing.